Listen carefully. IDAC boss Andrea Johnson just admitted on camera that they used the wrong process and never even looked at the SAPS rules. This is the moment that changes everything. So basically, the referral was weak. Instead of fixing the referral properly, they used a preliminary investigation like a full investigation. Johnson herself says that was never the purpose of the law. Then, the commissioner shows her National Instruction 11 of 2017, the official SAPS document that says how appointments must be handled inside the police. She says she only saw it when it was already in the prosecution papers. And the investigation didn't stay in October. It went back to April, May, June, and even looked at a civilian who was never part of the original complaint. That is going outside the scope.
CARES system, and we have to fulfill the requirements of the CARES system, which is to fill out that form. That's the only way I understand you are able to.
That's exactly the question. Why are you registering a docket on the 6th of January 2025 when you are still at the preliminary investigation stage?
I understand your question. I'm begging to differ only because of the CARES number. The CARES number determines, and I'm not trying to be controversial, the CARES number has always been what determines when the case is registered on CARES. So 542 of 6/2025 says that a case was registered at Brooklyn in the month of June 2025. I sit with the same conundrum as all of you do. What is this 6 January 2025? If we're talking about when was the docket registered, it would work on the CARES number. That is my understanding of it, and that is how it has always worked.
Or it means the docket was registered without a CARES number, and a CARES number was added later on. Because looking at these two documents together, the cover sheet which says preamble to the statement on 681, and then the particulars of the offense, that's the affidavit, that's also January 2025. They go together. And all of that would have been done in January 2025. Yes, the CAS number could have been added later in June, but the substance of the question is, why is IDAC involving SAPS in January 2025 when it is still at the preliminary investigation stage? So the substance of the question does not change.
And I understand, and I cannot answer why that happened. It shouldn't happen. It should have been when the CARES number was registered. So what I'm trying to get to, Commissioner, is the SAPS, CARES, and any involvement within the CARES system ought to have been in the month of June 2025, not this date of January. I can't explain the date of January.
Because my expectation would have been that you would have an IPID inquiry number, and you would start with that and only get to the SAPS documents in June.
That is correct.
Thank you, Commissioner. Then just to complete
can I just say that my difficulty with how you explain that a full-blown, what turns out to be a full-blown investigation happens on the back of a decision for a preliminary investigation. My difficulty with that is that full-blown investigation is used to show up an incompetent referral, Section 27, if that's what happened. Because what you had is, you had this wholly inadequate Section 27 affidavit, which on its terms does not make a case that triggers your jurisdiction. You then authorize, as you say you're entitled to do, or you have the power to do, you then authorize a preliminary investigation, and that's where you collect all of this evidence. But you use that to show up a poor referral. So again, that's not the purpose of your Section 2813 preliminary investigation. It's not to assist what should have been kicked out or not accepted by you because it didn't trigger your jurisdiction, it's not to use that process, because if that's what you are doing, then you are using your Section 2813 process for an unintended purpose. Its purpose is not to fix Mr. Adams's poor Section 27.
Correct.
It cannot be. So if your explanation is correct, that's exactly what happened, then we are again in that territory where, in fact, the Section 2813 was used as a pretext to make up a case that Mr. Adams should have pleaded or should have stated in his founding affidavit, and so your people would have acted improperly. They did that which the law doesn't allow to use that process for, which is the point that Mr. Law was making, that you authorize a preliminary investigation, but that preliminary investigation, in fact, is used to conduct a full-blown investigation. Your explanation of it proves exactly that they used the pretext of your authorization to assist make a case that places Mr. Adams's complaint into your jurisdiction, when in fact from the get-go it didn't fall within your jurisdiction, at least not in his Section 27. Do you accept that, if that's what happened?
I accept it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. You recall Commissioner Khumalo referred you to the national instruction. I think it's 11 of 2017. Did I understand you to suggest that you were not aware of it? Or perhaps I misheard?
I did indicate that I hadn't seen the instruction.
Okay.
Yes.
Can we go to file 8?
Yes.
And in particular, to page 3255. For the record, that's CJC 389. 3255. That should be your, what you call your prosecution note addressed to the
DPP.
To the DPP. If we go to 3257. I see at paragraphs 9 and 10, is that not the instruction note that you referenced there? The same instruction note that Commissioner Khumalo referred you to?
That is correct.
So you do know that instruction note?
I didn't see the instruction. I know of this instruction because I got this from the briefing from the team in order to prepare this memorandum.
Of people who must be investigated, is it not at this juncture you revisit that decision and you say, now that the issues are clarified, I'm happy that the referral in its totality now is complete and grounds have been advanced. I can only support charges relating to manipulation of promotional and security vetting processes.
So, on my reading
Yes.
of paragraph 2, what it says is that an investigation can go ahead to determine whether or not there is veracity in the claims made in paragraph 2.
You said Mr. Adams. No, Mr. Adams can instruct you to.
No, I didn't say Mr. I'm saying that the information herein is, for me, these are the allegations as they are now being made out a bit more clearer. These allegations should be investigated, whether or not they support his allegation or not. It is at that juncture, Council, that one is able to make a conclusive decision to then stop that process, because there are allegations being made. If they are not followed up, we could have been accused of not having conducted further investigation. That is just my assessment of where we are.
Advocate Johnson, you remember your and my engagement of yesterday about factual conclusions that are lacking in factual substratum supporting the factual conclusions.
Yes, Chair.
I will suggest this to you. I see the content of paragraph 2 to yet again make factual conclusions, which to my mind are not different in substance to the factual conclusions we dealt with yesterday.
Understand?
And do you agree?
I agree.
So I do not see the basis on which you would, based on this affidavit, have come to the conclusion that now there is enough for an investigation to be conducted. If you accept that these are factual conclusions that are not supported by factual allegations that support the conclusions. So I do not see how you get to the answer you gave to Ms. Silolo.
Chair, that was just my reading and understanding of it. And I indicated I see this for the first time today.
Yes.
However, I follow the sequence of the reasoning that is made by the Chair.
Do you agree with the suggestion
I
I'm
agree
making?
with your suggestion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Can I just
Yes.
draw to Advocate Johnson's attention? Advocate Johnson, appointments to senior management at SAPS level are governed by National Instruction 11 of 2017. And it appears to me that IDAC is not even familiar with this national instruction, because when Colonel Patriotic was here, he struggled to give answers in relation to this document. Yet this is the document that governs every step in the appointment of individuals such as the brigadier we're talking about here. And clause 17 of this document, I hope it has been provided to you, the national instruction. I see the attorneys seem to have stepped out, but it's National Instruction 11 of 2017. I had asked that a copy be made for you. Maybe yes. The second last page, clause 15. Just look at the first page first.
The one that starts with the purpose.
No, look at the cover page. It says National Instruction 11 of 2017, appointments to posts in senior management service.
I see that.
And then if you go to clause 15, which is the second last page,
I am there, Commissioner.
yeah, it says if a candidate is appointed and it appears that the candidate did not comply with the requirements of the appointment, that's paragraph A, we can skip B because B relates to the non-disclosure of criminal record and goes to C. If it appears that the candidate provided false information in his or her application or letter of acceptance, or D, the candidate is unable to take up the post. Look at what follows. The matter must be reported, and I emphasize the must be reported to the Divisional Commissioner Personnel Management for a recommendation to the National Commissioner on whether or not the candidate may retain his or her appointment. Do you see that?
I see that.
So the prescripts at SAPS govern a situation where an allegation like this is made, that because IDAC is not qualified to determine whether somebody qualifies or does not qualify. If such an issue has arisen, it then gets reported. In fact, it must be reported to that person so that that person can investigate and then make a recommendation to the National Commissioner, because it is the National Commissioner of Police that appoints people to this post. Do you see that?
I see that.
But it bothers me that your investigator, because I don't think this would have been brought to your attention, but your investigators did not even pay attention to a national instruction which governs appointments at this level. And later on, when we go through, it governs how panels are set up, who recommends, who approves. It governs how candidates are interviewed and scored. It governs how the recommendation to appoint is then made and who recommends and who appoints. But your investigators say nothing about this. In fact, they pay no regard to it, because even the definition of what is appropriate management experience, not management position, don't confuse the two. Appropriate management experience, the only place where you find that definition is in this document.
Okay.
And your investigators, for reasons that are not clear to me, paid no attention to this and proceeded instead to target a civilian and deal with her in a manner that I have serious difficulties with. So going back to the affidavit, because it goes together. So let's go back to the affidavit. It goes together with the cover page, because the cover page on 682 is described as the statement. And the reason why you have an affidavit is because everything Mr. Adams wants to say cannot fit in this page, on this page 682. So the affidavit has to be an annexure to this page, which says South African Police Service Statement, and then has description of the offense, where the offense took place, what the offense is. So if you just look at the particulars of the offense, it says the date of the offense is October 2024. Do you see that?
I see that.
So there's a specific date. And then it says the scene of the offense. It says it is at Crime Intelligence Offices, Priska Street, Erasmus Kloof, Pretoria. Do you see that?
I see that.
So that's what Mr. Adams limits himself to, because this document gave him options. You will see when it talks about date and time of the incident, he could have chosen the starting point and the end point, but he limited himself to a particular date. And then same with the scene of the offense. It gives him the option between, did it start in Cape Town and continue and conclude in Pretoria? But he limits himself to a particular date when a particular decision was made, and he says, that is the offense, that is the date of the offense. It took place at Crime Intelligence Offices. Do you see that?
I see that, sir.
But IDAC's investigation goes to April, it goes to May, it goes to June, and it targets this individual civilian in circumstances that are simply not justified by the referral or the statement or the affidavit itself.